This is the first time Emma Hayes has not brought in an uncapped player to camp. She also brought in a very, very young starting lineup to open the SheBelieves Cup, starting in the back. Claudia Dickey, left to right defensively. Daleen, Wesley, Tara Rudd, Giselle Thompson. In the middle, we have Emma Sears, Lily Johannes, Lindsay Heaps, Olivia Moultrie. And up top, we had a two-front, Jamise Joseph and Jaedyn Shaw. So when you first saw this, McCall, what was your initial reaction? First, very young, but also different formation from Hayes than what we've seen before.
Bluntly, these are the people that she's up in the air about and that she wants to give more opportunity to, so she can see more of them to decide if they're going to be there next summer.
Janelly, you get the same vibe?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think these are people that she's still unsure about, except for Heaps. I think Heaps it's a no-brainer for me. But I think it was important to start Heaps to give this starting 11 that experience that I think it lacks. But it's also a luxury that the US has. Like, maybe this isn't your best 11, but it's an amazing starting 11 still.
Yeah, well, it goes to show the depth that Emma Hayes has, but I saw this nugget on US Soccer website. U.S. captain Lindsay Heaps enters tonight's match with 170 caps, while the rest of the starting 11 combined has 99.
That's crazy.
That's insane. And I wonder, just looking at the first few minutes of the match, you know, Lindsay got the goal in the 19th minute, absolute brilliant finesse, classic Lindsay Heaps, the great Horan, as they used to call her, type of goal. To me, it showed a lot of inexperience that this team has. A lot of chemistry questions. The build-outs were forced to me. It seemed like it was something that was on the training pitch, but wasn't exactly playing out into the game. I think Argentina did a really good job in their defensive shape, making it messy and ugly. And when I think about it, it's actually kind of the perfect game for youngsters to go into because it's more unpredictable. You have to problem solve on the field. But looking at the first 20 or so minutes, McCall, do you think the U.S. got a little handle on it, even with the goal?
I mean, a couple of notes of it is, like you said, this is the first time that she hasn't called anybody in that doesn't have caps yet. So now she's starting to get more serious, start to think, okay, we're a year and a half away. But then you look at, you know, players like Lindsay Heaps who have a ton of experience, and you're thinking that can't be their B team. But a year and a half away might be too far away for her to still be in form, still be in fitness, and not lose a step. You know, she's getting to that point in her career and her age where, you know, maybe she's going to go with more youth and lean away from a Heaps. And that's not who she's looking at in her best 11. So,
I had a different take with her being in the starting lineup.
You were thinking she's just going to hold the glue together so it's not too chaotic.
So I agree with you there.
Yeah.
So I was thinking that too. And by the way, Heaps had a great game. I thought she was quality and she did keep it together in there. But it also made me think maybe she is questioning if she's going to be in her best 11 with, you know, 18 months, 19 months to go.
That's interesting take. I hadn't looked at it that way, but now that you say it, I think it's valid. It's possible. I still go more for, I think she was like the glue that was holding this inexperienced starting 11 together. I think that Lindsay Heaps, she still has the potential to be a starting player when the next World Cup comes around. Because if you're going to put on a team, it's such a young, inexperienced team in a World Cup roster, you need somebody of her caliber on the starting 11. Like
for sure. But then you think Coffee, she's experienced, she can hold it down. Claire Hutton will be in a year and a half better and more experienced. I don't know if there's going to be space for Heaps if there's younger, sprighter players that are in that 6-8 position.
It's so tough because it's tough. You see here, Jackie D64 is saying Heaps is a 6 now. That's where she plays for Lyon. But I was just about to make the point. Well, what if she's a lot higher on the pitch? And she doesn't have to do the same defensive responsibility.
Then for who? For Rose Lavelle?
Well, a lot of stuff can happen.
I'm just not seeing space for her is all I'm saying.
Yeah. I understand your point. I see it. But I think, to me, I looked at that as more of a nod of confidence for Lindsay Heaps to go in. And with the chaos that Argentina predicted they were going to bring and that they actually brought to the game between physicality, the messiness, the chances they could have had if they just they had a little bit more fire inside of them in the final third. I actually think Lindsay Heaps probably organized more so than was more effective in organizing vocally, moving people around, problem solving than she actually was on the ball.
Yeah. And so, you know how it is, Dee. Sometimes it's like when you're a youngster and you're going into a game and it's big and you're like, oh, at least I have Lindsay Heaps next to me.
Yeah.
So it kind of settles them a little bit, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. But we go into this game. It's messy. It's chaotic. Lindsay Heaps ends up getting a goal. Emma Sears gets end line, cuts it back, sets it up near post. Beautiful curler to seal the deal in the first half for the U.S. Women's National Team. And then there was a controversial callback where in our group chat, we're all texting, is there VAR? Because Jamise Joseph was not offside. Jamise Joseph was not offside on that goal in the 21st minute. Jaedyn Shaw popped it in the middle of the pocket, played it forward to her. How do we feel about Jamise Joseph's performance and, you know, some of the younger players that came in, like Maddie Darlene, Olivia Moultrie, even we can count, Jamise Joseph, some of those that are still very young into this women's national team?
I think Jamise Joseph, I agree with you. I don't think it should have been called offsides. I think it was a great ball in from Shaw, and it was a great finish from Joseph. If it would have been called on, it would have been a perfect game for her because as a 9, you have one job. It's to score goals. And I think she would have done that if we had VAR, but I mean, we can't worry about that. Aside from that play, I think she was a bit isolated. I didn't see her connect well with Shaw or Moultrie. And I don't think it's because she's not capable of it. I think she is. I think she just has to be allowed maybe more minutes, more time. But with such a stacked roster, that's hard. If you're given the opportunity and you're only given 45 minutes to do it, you have to shine. Like if it's your only opportunity, you have to take it. And she's in a really tough position for that number 9 role.
Yeah.
And up until that moment, Jamise Joseph didn't touch the ball for the first 16 to 18 minutes of the game. Just completely invisible. And so you have 2 questions to ask yourself. Is that player not making themselves available? Or are they trying to get, used to the game and hiding a little bit? Or are people just not finding her the ball? Or is she not in good positions? But I think for her, it was probably the latter. She was just kind of getting her feels for the game a little bit. And, we discussed this a little bit before. It was like, if we were to choose the 1 or 2 players that we were most surprised to see in the starting lineup today and or get called into the camp, I would have said, even before they were the first ones to be subbed off, I was surprised to see Darlene starting, and especially in the position she was in. I think it's a tough gig to give her as a young new player, and Jamise Joseph as well getting the nod. And they suffered a little bit today, and usually getting subbed off at halftime is an indication that you're not having a terribly awesome effect on the game.
Yeah, I think it was a lot of nerves coming into this. It's your first SheBelieves Cup. You're going against Argentina. They're going to be formidable. They're going to tackle. You're going to have to problem solve and change up your game plan. But I thought that was a big vote of confidence for both of them. Hey, let's throw you into the deep end, and we know you can swim, so swim. Let's see what you can do. They got 45 minutes. But before the half ended, there was also another VAR. Well, what I would have said, where's VAR? Let's go check. Jaedyn Shaw's hair pull.
100%
hair got snapped.
That is a red.
I don't understand how it was a yellow and not a red. We need Christina Uncle. Because I don't know. I don't understand how you get a yellow for that, but
that's
not a
wildly
red.
Inappropriate.
I think the ref just didn't see it. And like I said, we need better refs. We need better refs. Like for sure should have been a red. I think Jaedyn Shaw also was frustrated because she kind of like tries to kick her after. She shouldn't have done that. So I think both these players, I think maybe lack maturity in that moment. But aside from that, we just need better refs. I don't want to get into this because then I'm going to get frustrated, but it's something that has to change. It has to be better because it could dictate games.
Yeah. Well, it's not crazy. We don't have VAR in this
I'm quite surprised that SheBelieves does not have. I mean, we take this seriously. We win every SheBelieves. We need to keep this record going. This is a serious thing, except for one.
Yeah.
England. But you know what I mean? This is not just a Mickey Mouse tournament. This is a cup that we created that we take seriously. Why wouldn't we just get VAR for it?
Yeah. Fourth deconstruction said, yes, hair pulling is a red. And I agree. I've had my
Hundo.
braids pulled in a game and it was a quick red.
It is so inappropriate. Is the farthest thing.
Even on accident, it's pretty egregious. But when I'm looking at a lot of these younger players, I wanted to ask you guys, they're thrown into the deep end. You're going against Argentina. There's actually something on the line. This isn't just a friendly. You go to penalties. The points are different in this tournament. And the U.S. has a history of winning this consecutively. When you're going against opponents that are pushing and, doing the dark arts and pulling you and stepping on your feet, fouling, the refs letting things go, do you think that this is the best way for these young players to find their footing in a tournament like this? Like, was Emma Hayes' decision right to do this Argentina game and have the youngest squad be out there with Lindsey Heaps?
That's a good question. I don't know if she considered that aspect of the game. I think in an interview before, she did say she was, the Argentina was going to be an aggressive opponent. We all know that. That's something that characterizes them. But as a young player, that is tough. When you're constantly getting shoved or pushed, or your teammates are, it can throw you off your game, and it throws you off your game. That's what Argentina is. They are known for that. It's part of how they play. And it works for them sometimes. I mean, it worked for them a large part of the game. I think Argentina kept themselves in the game. They didn't have any clear chances like the US did. But their goal is to frustrate the opponent, and they did that for moments. And as a young player, it's not the best way to try to start your career on a national team. It's not. But at the end of the day, you're a professional and you have to find a way to make it work. And if those types of things are affecting you negatively, then you have to find a way to mentally and emotionally be better in that moment.
Yeah, see, I think Emma Hayes, this was like very intentional. Like, you're going to learn the very hard
Love
way.
it. I agree, Dee. I'm
this
you already know Argentina, Colombia, they're going to bring the aggressive noise. So you need to feel what it's like out there to fight and compete against a very, very competitive side in a big tournament where everything's on the line. That's the energy that Argentina and Colombia brings every day, no matter if it's a friendly. So putting these young players on there to understand that battle and get experience with that, I think that was totally intentional and actually very healthy for our young and experienced players.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I won't lie, ladies. I did predict that maybe Emma Hayes would come out in a 4-4-2 or have two up top, because there is sort of a number 9.
You sure did.
I did run the episode back. Go listen. It was last week, like 5 or 6 days ago. But I predicted it because looking at the forwards that she brought in, there's not that many 9s, not the ones that we typically see with Emma Hayes or just U.S. soccer. So I thought this is the perfect time to experiment and try a 2 up top, potentially a 4-4-2, and we got it. We got it in the first half. Did we hate it?
I mean, I think we've had a 9 problem for a while, especially when Macario isn't available, and we've kind of, forced her into that 9. But, you think about back in the day when we had an Abby Rombach and Alex Morgan, like prop or number 9s, there just hasn't really been one that's come up in the ranks in the system.
Well, Sophia Wilson, but
exactly. And she's not ready yet. And that's okay. She will be, but without those 2, it's, a 4-2-2 or 4-4-2 is something we just had to try. But I think our best formation to get the best players on the field with what we have right now is playing a 4-3-3.
You agree, Janelly?
Yeah, I agree 100%. The U.S. has put out their best performances always in a 4-3-3, and also it's a formation where it's very versatile. Like, they're kind of just starting points, and players have more freedom. I think the 4-4-2 today was good. It was good just to see how players can adapt to the moment, because sometimes games you're going to need 2 9s. You're going to need to find a way to make it work against opponents like these, because when, as a center back, when you're playing against 2 9s, it's much harder than when you're playing against just 1 9. So I think it was a good nod from Emma Hayes. It wasn't the best performance. I think they weren't able to find that chemistry in the final third. I think it took them a bit to figure it out. I think it took like subs coming on to really make a big difference. But there's nothing wrong with that. She tried it. She knows it's an option, and it's not a big deal. Move back to a 4-3, and it works.
I wonder though if we'll see it against Canada or Colombia, or if this was just a one-off. I feel like we may come up again in some way.
Okay, so it may. So remember that, we were kind of low in the outside back area because Weisner had to leave camp early with an injury, right?
Mhm.
So, then she's like, well, I want to get Darlene on the field with the rest of these gals if this is what I'm trying today. So you could see we were building with a 3 and would offset Darlene to be more of like a midfield winger.
Yeah.
But, she's responsible to do that defensive work as an outside back. So her attack, she's going to be fine. But that responsibility defensively, she's not used to, staying tight with her line, cover pressure, all those things. Like that was a really tough role for her today. But you could see Emma was like, just pretend you're not a defender, but you're going to be a defender. Okay.
Yeah, that she's good. There's a lot for the US to look back at this match and improve on, especially in the 4-4-2. But as we go into the second half, there's some changes made. Lily Reel comes in, Claire Hutton comes in. And then pretty quickly we get a goal from Jaedyn Shaw. Comes off of a corner, the second phase. Lindsay Heaps cuts it back to Jaedyn Shaw. She tees it up and finishes it. Beautiful far post curler. Keeper probably should have had it, but a really good opportunity and a great goal for Jaedyn Shaw. And then we had some more subs. Emily Fox, Ali Sentnor, and Trinity Rodman come in. And, Lily Reel goes out with an injury. Trinity Rodman at the end of the match has an injury. What do we rate the subs and how much they changed the game, though, despite those things happening? Janelly, do you feel like that improved and like brought the level up once those players came in?
I think Claire Hutton coming on was definitely a game changer. To me, in the past camps, she's been the one that stands out the most. I think she gives the team balance defensively and offensively. She's kind of like that player that literally keeps the team together. And I think she was her 45 minutes, her second half was it was great. And to come on to a game as a sub, it's hard sometimes to immediately get into the rhythm of the game. And she didn't even hesitate. She immediately was an impact player for me.
Yeah. Cole, who stood out to you the most from those subs?
I think Foxy is just so valuable and so important to us. She can play on both sides, the confidence. I mean, it was a night and day when she came on, what an outside back needs to look like for us, our country, and our system.
Yeah, I agree. We also didn't
100%.
mention, sorry, go ahead.
No, I said 100% about Fox.
Oh, yeah. And Alyssa Thompson is also another player that came in who I thought immediately just turned defenses around. And I feel like US, we just need one of those players on the pitch like that at all times.
Stretch the line and
yes, at all times. But we've got a lot to build on.
Her connection with Fox on that left wing,
so good.
Man, it's so dangerous. It's lethal.
Yeah, so good. I have a feeling we'll see it in the next couple of matches. I don't know.